As you mentioned, I'm Julie Wanzer with Business Rewritten. And my goal here today is to really help you tackle the written part. I think that's usually the most daunting part of the award submission because it's a lot, right? You've got to get into a lot of details and things of that nature. So really want to offer the best tips and tricks for you guys to help tackle and really get that award-winning submission. Just for some context, I've been in the AEC industry working since 2008 and have done several of these award submissions. I worked in-house actually for Farnsworth Group, an ACC member firm, did a lot of submissions there, and then also at Clip Architecture, did a lot of architectural award submissions. So I've seen both sides of it. I've been on the other side of it as well as an actual judge. I served as an S&PS judge back in 2017. So I have reviewed several of these award submissions. There are some do's and don'ts, and hopefully I can give you all the do's and help you really guys achieve that award-winning submission. All right, let's see. Here we go. So when the call for entries comes out, my biggest recommendation is honestly just to treat this like a proposal pursuit. It's got a deadline that doesn't move, right? So at 11:59 on August 13th, you better have everything in there, right? So again, it has that finite deadline, but also too, I would really do a go, no go on this, right? Hopefully you're already doing that on your proposal pursuits. But when it comes to the Word application, I would treat it the same, right? Really look at your projects that qualify, right? That meet those eligibility requirements that Heidi shared previously, to really examine them strategically, such that, is it really a award-winning project, right? Are there unique aspects? Did your engineering team go above and beyond and really provide those innovative solutions? And did it have a social impact, right? How did it impact the community? I think a lot of firms overlook that sometimes, but that might be the, the single thing, that award-winning aspect of the project that really pushes you to the head of the pack. So once you've done your go, no go, and you're in the go phase, how do you implement it, right? My, again, suggestion, work backwards from the deadline. Again, from August 13th, you've got what, less than 2 months, right? To decide and really put that together. And I would just kind of divide and conquer from there. I would then identify your resources, right? Hopefully you already have some type of project description that maybe you've copied and pasted into that next proposal over and over again. You at least have identifying the team members, right, that were part of that project, the client, but maybe you already did a case study about it, or, have some other materials that you can kind of use to gather your well of content, right, to put together for the award application. Then I would do a kickoff meeting, right? Like you do for a proposal pursuit, right? Have everybody in the room for that initial meeting. I would recommend the principal, the project manager, the lead engineer, just everybody that was involved in that project, kind of get them all together and do a brain dump, right? Really get into the nitty gritty of the project. Why was it unique? How can we help tell this story from all different sides, right? Because the principal might have a different perspective than maybe the lead engineer who was maybe more boots on the ground, right? You want to make sure you're including everyone's story within the breadth of your award application. But then at the end of the day, as the proposal manager or the award application manager, you're really taking ownership of all that content, right? At the end of the day, right, all the content comes into us, and you have that job to really make sure that it's all written in one voice, that there's no spelling errors, all of those things, and that every word, every paragraph is needed to be there, right? I think, again, you only have a finite amount of words and space to really tell your story. So make sure that each word definitely counts. All right, so what are we going to focus on, right? Within the call for entries, again, I know that there are several, I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they've got A, B, C, and D all the way down. These are the 3 key areas that I would really recommend focusing on. That executive summary, 4C, the entrance contribution, and then section 4D, the summary. So executive summary, you got 1 page, right? So this is your kind of your first impression to the judges to really sell the project, right? And one of the best ways to do that is use data and statistics. Your engineers love numbers, right? But really identify those award-winning statistics that can help push you over the edge, right? So if you were able to save the owner 2 weeks on that project schedule with your innovative solution, you already got my attention, right? How did you guys do that? So identify the problem, the solution, but making sure you're using concrete data and statistics to back that up. An even better way to kind of help sell it in the executive summary is to use actual client quotes and testimonials, right? So if you had the client sending in you a quote that said the engineering team worked tirelessly, to save us 2 weeks on that project, they really helped us. And in the end, their solutions were amazing, right? So you have that third-party endorsement, and then you can describe what that problem and what that solution is. All right, now this is 4C, the entrance contribution to the project. Again, this section number 4 is probably the biggest section within the award submittal for all of your writing. So write persuasively, right? This is not your typical project description, again, that you've probably been copying, pasting from past proposals. You really have to be strategic and really identify what are those unique characteristics. What value did you bring not only to the community, but to the engineering profession as a whole. I know sometimes engineers really don't like to brag about themselves. So sometimes it takes just some leading questions that you can ask. Again, when you're doing your big kickoff meeting, ask the principals, get into there, be like, how was that interaction with the client? Were they happy the whole time, or was it an up and down? How did you guys save it in the end? So really kind of dig deep on these. For the last section, 4D, the summary, again, you've got word count. It says 100 to 500 words. So basically 500 words max to tell me, or, to tell the judges why you should win, right? So in this section, I would really focus on concise answers. You don't have that much space. And honestly, the judges are going to get a stack of award submissions, right? And by the end, I can tell you, your eyes start to glaze over and all the projects meld together, right? So you want to make sure you're putting every effort in to make your project stand out. So with that, I would also recommend in this section to include both technical and non-technical information. So think about the judges again. Heidi mentioned, most of them are familiar with the industry, but there's also media partners, people from DU, different universities, associations that aren't engineers, right? Like they don't have that specific knowledge, know-how, but if you provide technical information for them and explain why that was important, I think you've done your job, right? So if you were able to save, however many gallons of wastewater from being recycled or whatever that might be, you're providing them with some technical information about, the gallons, the flow, right? But you're putting it into a context of why that was important, right? So get me to care. Tell me why. Be persuasive, but also concise. And again, over the years, here's some additional best practices. I think Heidi touched on this briefly when she was talking about the project board, but I really want to hone in on this because this is a complete missed opportunity for most firms, right? So once you've written the application part, you've gone through those 4 A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all of those, and now you're turning your focus to the project board, I would still really hone in on telling your project story within the project board itself, right? So use eye-catching titles and subtitles, hit on those high points again, right? Just tell that same story over and over and over again to really convince the judges that your project should win. And then to that end, again, Heidi mentioned this as well, was to continue that storytelling with your photo captions, right? Not just, oh, this is a picture, outside in front of the project building, or this is the field where the pipes are laid underneath. Okay, that's great. And yes, you identified what that project is, but take that a step further and tell why it's important, right? This project faced east for XYZ reasons. Again, really use every opportunity you can to sell your project. Then if all else fails and you get 5 proposals on your desk that are all due on August 13th, the same day that this one's due, hire a professional writer, right? Get some help. I think that it's easier to hire someone to do an award application than it is to hire someone to do a proposal, right? That's not within your firm. Obviously both ways can be done, but again, you just want to make sure that you have enough time and resources to get this done and to treat it again like a proposal. You really want to make sure you're detail oriented, you have time to edit, you have time to get all the information from your project managers and your principals and your engineers, who, guess what, are also busy, right, with their own project work. So building in those buffers, those timelines, it's super critical when you're putting it together. Alrighty. Ooh, that was a lot. So now I just kind of want to shift back to the return on investment. Heidi mentioned this portion, and in full disclosure, I do provide social media and marketing communication for ACEC Colorado. So these 5 points that I'm talking about are things that I help implement with Heidi's help with ACEC Colorado to really make sure you're getting the most bang for your buck when you're submitting your award. So return on investment. So the first one is we do a targeted ACEC Colorado social media campaign around the awards. As you can see here, this was a snapshot from ACEC Colorado's Instagram account. We created a template that puts your project board in there. It has the type of award that you won, your company name, and then your client's name. And then we tag your company. Hopefully you have a LinkedIn profile so we can tag you, right? But again, kind of take it a step further and give that recognition, but individual recognition, so that each award entry gets their own social media post and gets tagged individually. Second part of ROI is guaranteed local press coverage, right? ACEC Colorado we submit a formal press release each year to announce the winners. We distribute that to our local contacts, a lot of trade publications. I know Colorado Public Works Journal has done a whole section of their magazine on the awards with a write-up and pictures. So that's always something great to look forward to. This picture here is from the Colorado Real Estate Journal. They do a full-page color ad that highlights all of the projects. So that's a great media partner for us. We also get placement usually in Colorado Construction and Design magazine. Let's see, what are the others? I know CCD magazine, Mile High, CRE. So there's a number of publications where we kind of take that legwork, do the legwork for you. I understand that you have to write a news release for yourself, right, once you submit to national, but this one really focuses in on the Colorado market. All right, third one here is the individual professional video. Heidi mentioned this. They'll be filming in September for everyone who has submitted an award. You'll each receive your own individual videos that, as you can see here, usually a minute and a half, that features your project, right? We take the time to interview your principals, sometimes the client, or some other people that may be involved within the project to really help sell it. And as I'm sure all of you know, video, digital content, that's the best type of content to share, right? And when you have your own personalized video about your award project, it's even better. Then for the last two parts, as again, Heidi mentioned as well, is the project board exposure, right? So our offices are opening back up, and we like to keep the project boards display up year round, right? So whether they're having trainings or the holiday party, whatever it is, getting some foot traffic in and out of there, it's a great talking point, right? And again, displays and really highlights your work and your client's work. Alrighty. And the last one is a personalized award, right? Heidi and her team did a great job of, redesigning these and making sure that they're very professional, they're engraved, all these things. So you get this big award, but it's time to show it off, right? It's great to display in your office, again, once everyone returns to the office. Or on the flip side of it, I know some companies have taken their awards and actually given it to their client, right? Maybe it was a token, a gift for them. So you get to really, maximize and leverage every single part of the award submission process into that ROI. Oh, and by the way, Unfound Door, they are professional photography. Hopefully they'll be doing that again this year at the EEAs in November, but always captures great photos and makes sure that your team's included.